It's time for really quick equity and excellence in teaching tips. I am your host, Michelle Singh, an educator, professor, author, student, and mother. I'm happy to share this topic from the EQUAL methodology, which is a framework for diversity, equity, and inclusion in education. So let's get right into our conversation. Think about it. School cultures are the traditions and the rituals that have been built up over time by the administrators and the teachers and the parents and the staff and the stakeholders who all work together in the school setting. I think back to my experience in high school. I went to Miami Southbridge Senior High School in Miami, Florida. Our mascot is the Spartan. And as Spartans, we have a level of pride that is absolutely unmatched. I have never experienced this level of pride, the level of pride that a Spartan holds in any other school that I have attended, any other school I have taught at, or any school I've even visited. And even though it's been a few decades since I graduated high school, that Spartan pride is still strong for my generation, the generations before me, and even the generations that follow me. And I credit that. I credit that culture. I credit that pride that we hold so dearly to the culture of the school that was established by the leaders and by the teachers and by the students and by their parents and their families and the community partners, community members, who all had a stake in the success of the school. So how do you get that kind of consistency in the culture that transcends generations, literally? One way to do this is to listen to those who are involved in building the culture. Youth Truth nonprofit says that the only way to fully understand whether a school culture is healthy and supportive of the learning and the achievement of the students is to ask the students directly about their perceptions and their experiences. So as teachers, we can enhance the classroom culture by allowing our students to share their voices and their feedback. So for our discussion today, I would like to share 3 tips for teachers to implement when designing student surveys as a tool to assess their classroom culture. Here is tip number 1, which is to decide on how to collect students' input. I would suggest that if you teach younger students, you should include the parents and the families in this process. I would also suggest that you could use technology tools, because technology tools have many benefits, like easy data collection for us, an organization for us, right? And it also has, the technology tools also have accessibility options for the users who are going to be your students and the parents. And 2 particular tools that I use frequently are Microsoft Forms and Google Forms, right? So Microsoft Forms has translation features, and they also have this accessibility feature called the immersive reader that is built in, and it is incredible. So you have Microsoft Forms with, the accessibility features, and you have Google Forms, which has lots of great templates that you can use. So I would recommend, whichever option would work best for you, depending on how you want to set up your survey and depending on your needs. So again, I use both depending on the purpose of the surveys that I am sending out. Okay, so now we're going to go on to tip number 2, which is to talk to your students about the purpose and the importance of the survey, right? You want to let them know the why, right? Why are you giving them the survey? And you want to let them know your goals with the results of the survey. And you also want to share with them what quality feedback looks like and why you need it, why you need the kind of feedback that you are hoping to get from the students. And of course, depending on the age range of the students, you may want to review some sample questions and responses with them for them to hear and also to see what quality feedback looks like and the types of questions that you're going to ask them, right? And you may even want to provide sentence frames or sentence stems or sentence starters to give the students some help in getting their responses together when they're responding to the surveys. You can even consider adding examples of responses on the survey itself for support, right? So those are just a few tips to talk to your students about the purpose of the survey and the importance of the survey and quality feedback for those surveys. One thing that can personalize this, if you're sending a survey home to parents, personalize it even more, right, is to record a quick video explaining the purpose and the importance. So for the online survey, you can put a link to the video as part of the survey for them to just click and watch, you know, before they respond to the questions. If you're doing a traditional, you know, send home, take home paper survey, what you could do is add a QR code QR code to the actual handout. And when the parents and the students see it, they can just scan the QR code. It's going to open up the video that they can watch to get the personal touch of you explaining the survey and the importance to them, right? So that's just another way to, you know, to talk to your students about the quality of the responses and the importance of the survey. So now let's go on to tip number three, which is to take action, right? You want to take action after you get those surveys back from your students and their parents and their families, and you want to reflect on the feedback that you receive, right? Consider looking for themes in your students' responses. Do they talk about the types of activities that they're doing? Do they want to do more collaboration? Do they want to participate in more field trips? Do they want to read more? Do they want, you know, look for specific themes within the responses? And you're looking at the themes to see the areas of success and the areas of improvement. You may even respond to your students and share the overall feedback results that you get so that they are involved in the entire process of the, you know, assessing the culture. And the important thing here is to make adjustments by making a plan of the most practical shifts that you can take to really improve your classroom culture for your students. There was an article that I read about school culture, and it shared how students viewed the school culture in their schools and classrooms. And there was one student who described the differences of the schools that she attended in terms of the culture. She said, quote, "In the current school, everyone looked at her work. In her old school, only the teacher knew anything about her work." And she then went on to say that she has to try much harder in her current school because the work is more important. So feedback like that is really, really valuable for you to make shifts to how students can, you know, see the importance of their work and their contributions and their value, and what you can do to, you know, ensure that students, again, feel safe and valued in those environments, right? So we have just reviewed 3 tips, right, to implement when you're designing student surveys as a tool for assessing your classroom culture. Tip number 1 was to decide on what you're going to use to collect the information. Tip number 2 is to talk to your students about the purpose and the why and quality feedback. Tip number 3 is to take action, right? So let's go ahead and close our discussion today about assessing our classroom culture. And I want to close with a quote that says, asking students about their experiences is crucial to understanding where there is room to improve school culture. Student perceptions are a powerful complementary measure of school success. And this is a quote from Every Student Succeeds Act. So I challenge you to think about the ways you ask your students for feedback about their experiences with the learning. How could you and how will you use this feedback to improve the classroom culture for your students? The next move is on you. So let's put these ideas to work. Take time to implement and time to reflect. And don't forget to join the conversation. I invite you to share your thoughts and progress with our community online at LCT-E Learning. You may even use the hashtag #LearnWithLCT-E. We look forward to engaging with you. Thank you for watching.